All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're looking at something that honestly sounds like pure science fiction, but is actually rooted in some of the most rigorous biological research happening right now. We are talking about hacking our biology to extend health span, and the best part, doing it without suffering through those miserable restrictive diets. If you've ever wondered how you might actually slow down your biological clock, well, you are in exactly the right place.
I want to kick things off by posing the ultimate biohacker dilemma. You see, going all the way back to the 1930s, scientists have known this one fundamental truth about mammalian longevity. If you significantly reduce caloric intake, we're talking sometimes up to 50%, while still maintaining essential nutrients, organisms just live longer. It's been proven time and time again. Yeast, mice, primates, eating less extends life. But let's be real here. Starving yourself? That is no way to live. So it kind of leaves us with this massive question. Do we really have to choose between a long, healthy life and, actually enjoying a satisfying dinner?
So look at the options. On one hand, you have traditional caloric restriction. And yeah, it works, but it's incredibly demanding. You're constantly hungry, you risk losing valuable muscle mass. It's literally a lifetime of restriction. But then, compare that to the incredible promise of caloric restriction mimetics, or CRMs. The entire goal here is to just eat normally, while pharmacologically flipping the exact biological switches that activate cellular repair. It's a highly sustainable intervention, one that doesn't completely ruin your quality of life. Think of caloric restriction mimetics as, well, compounds that put a sort of fasting disguise on your cells. So your body is actively digesting food, getting energy, doing its thing. But these CRMs are chemically tricking your nutrient sensors into thinking, uh-oh, we're in a famine, it's time to hunker down and repair the damage. You get all those profound biological benefits of fasting, like way less inflammation and much better metabolic health, without actually having to skip a single meal. How cool is that?
Now, to actually find these elusive CRMs, the National Institute on Aging set up the Interventions Testing Program, or the ITP. Think of this as the absolute gold standard hunt for the fountain of youth. The ITP is insanely rigorous. They test these potential longevity drugs on genetically diverse mice across 3 completely independent labs at the exact same time. We're talking the University of Michigan, Jackson Lab, and the University of Texas. If a drug extends lifespan in the ITP, it is a huge deal because those results are heavily vetted and perfectly reproducible. Out of all the molecules they've tested over the years, only a very select few have actually proven to extend lifespan.
Section 6. Rapamycin, the cellular repairman.
To understand exactly how rapamycin works, we have to look at mTOR. Think of mTOR as the cellular factory manager that coordinates growth. When nutrients are plentiful, mTOR is basically just constantly yelling, build, grow, multiply. And hey, growth is awesome when you're young, but as we age, a hyperactive mTOR boss never lets the factory shut down to clean up its own garbage. The cellular machinery just gets completely overworked and cluttered with damaged parts.
And this is exactly where rapamycin steps in. Rapamycin inhibits that mTOR pathway. It effectively sends our yelling factory boss on a much-needed vacation. And guess what happens when the boss is away? The maintenance team finally gets to work. This triggers a process called autophagy. Autophagy is basically your cell's natural recycling mechanism. It goes in, degrades obsolete, damaged proteins, and clears out all that cellular junk that accumulates as we get older.
So, the million-dollar question, does sending the boss on vacation actually extend life? Well, the ITP results are striking. Rapamycin extended median lifespan up to 26% in female mice and up to 23% in males. It even showed serious protection against age-related cognitive decline and multiple organ pathologies. It is an absolute powerhouse. But, you knew there was a but, right? Here's the biological plot twist. Rapamycin's fatal flaw is that chronic use can actually cause glucose intolerance and insulin desensitization. Basically, it completely messes with how your body handles blood sugar.
Section 10. Acarbose, the glucose blocker.
So, let's walk through exactly how acarbose works in the human gut. Step 1, it blocks an enzyme called alpha-glucosidase. Step 2, because that specific enzyme is blocked, the digestion and absorption of complex carbohydrates slows way down. And step 3, this prevents those massive, damaging blood sugar spikes you usually get right after a meal. Acarbose is literally standing at the gateway of your intestine, playing traffic cop to stop glucose from just flooding into your bloodstream all at once. And blunting those glucose spikes, it sets off this incredible cascade of longevity benefits. Because you have lower glucose peaks, your body requires way less insulin.
This lowers IGF-1, which is a growth hormone very closely linked to the aging process and even cancer proliferation. On top of that, as those undigested carbs move further down your digestive tract, they actually remodel your gut microbiome. They starve the bad bacteria and feed the good ones, the ones that produce anti-inflammatory short-chain fatty acids. It also boosts a hormone called GLP-1, which is fantastic for your cardiovascular system. In the ITP trials, acarbose alone increased male mouse lifespan by 16 to 20%.
Section 13. The ultimate synergistic combo. The biological rationale for pairing these two together is honestly nothing short of brilliant. Look at it. On one side we have rapamycin. It extends lifespan through mTOR inhibition, but it has that nasty side effect of inducing insulin resistance. Then, on the other side, we have acarbose, which actively improves insulin sensitivity and blunts those glucose spikes. Acarbose is literally the exact biological antidote needed for rapamycin's worst side effect. It's just a perfect physiological match.
And when the interventions testing program actually combined them, starting the mice on this regimen at 9 months of age, this was the result: 34%. A staggering 34% increase in the median lifespan of male mice. That is wild.
Breaking down the data really reveals the true power of this discovery. Look, rapamycin alone gave male mice up to a 23% increase. Acarbose alone gave them up to a 20% increase. But you combine them and boom, you get 34%. This proves that in biology, sometimes 1 + 1 can equal 3. The synergy between these two completely different pathways, MTR inhibition and glucose regulation, is just far more potent than either drug acting entirely on its own.
And crucially, this wasn't just a male phenomenon. Female mice on the combination therapy saw a massive 28% lifespan increase. This is a really big deal because in previous standalone trials, acarbose only gave female mice about a 5% bump. So adding rapamycin to the mix completely transformed the health span outcomes for females as well.
Section 18. Hacking your biological clock. All right, let's wrap up the core takeaways from this explainer. First, the science is clear here. You absolutely can mimic the profound benefits of fasting pharmacologically. You do not necessarily have to endure a lifetime of starvation to get those amazing cellular repair benefits. Second, aging is a multi-pathway problem. There isn't just one magic aging switch. You have to address cellular growth pathways like mTOR, sure, but you also have to address metabolic pathways like glucose spikes in your gut microbiome. And third, synergistic combinations are, without a doubt, the future of longevity protocols. Attacking aging from multiple complementary angles, that is exactly how we achieve these massive breakthroughs.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought. For centuries, we've viewed aging as just this inevitable, irreversible decline. But as this data clearly shows, aging is heavily dictated by signaling pathways. It's biological code. And if we can decipher that code, well, we can modify it. We can block the bad signals, we can boost the repair signals, and we can completely optimize the system. So if aging really is just a biological pathway, are you ready to rewrite your code? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.